The NBA needs to change how they structure their minor league system. It's too difficult for guys to move up and get a shot to play in the NBA. Rosters are extremely restricted with little movement. We see more and more players who are NBA level talents going overseas because there are no roster spots left for them. The worst case that we've seen of this recently is probably Lonnie Walker. After the 2023 to 2024 season at just 25 years old, Lonnie had to sign a contract in Lithuania. And this was after a year where he played 17 minutes per game, averaging close to 10 points per game for the Nets. This isn't some fringe NBA player who was hanging onto the league by a thread. This is a young talent who could be a solid bench contributor to any playoff team. And he's currently in Lithuania. So I feel like that's all I gotta say on that. While the NBA does need expansion to accommodate all of the talent that's coming into the league right now, I think there might be another solution. The NBA needs to treat the G League and its players how the NHL and MLB treat their minor league systems. Contracts need to have minor league options, with G Leaguers being available for selection. While two-way contracts do work like that, teams are only allowed to sign 3 players to a two-way deal. So I have a few ideas on how these G League deals would work. You can keep the two-way system where guys on a two-way contract are only allowed to be active for 50 games, and only guys with less than 4 years of experience are eligible to be signed to a two-way contract. But it should work more like a 40-man roster for a Major League Baseball team. Have a 20 to 25-man roster where 15 of those players are signed to the NBA team, but the other 5 to 10 are on two-way deals. These two-way contracts would also not count against the salary cap. This should change how players with season-ending injuries are treated. Instead of teams filing for the disabled player exception, which is rarely used, the NBA should have an injured list or season-ending IR. This can allow teams to have more roster flexibility when guys get hurt, and prevent teams from cutting a player from the roster just because he got hurt. Personally, I still think Edmund Sumner would be in the league today if the Pacers didn't cut him because he tore his Achilles. That could be a delusional take by me, but he was really carving out a role for himself in Indiana before he tore his Achilles. That situation has kind of haunted me ever since, because if we had an IR or an injured list or something, the Pacers could have just put him on that and then brought him back when he was healthy. So if the NBA had a system like that, I think it would help teams and players a lot. All of this is very player friendly. It gives guys more chances to play in the NBA, and I think it would make the preseason more interesting. Guys on Exhibit 10 deals actually have a shot at filling a roster spot this way. Because whenever you're playing in a preseason game, you now have 5 to 10 roster spots that need to be filled. So a lot of those Exhibit 10 guys are going to be playing to fill those roster spots. So it would make things a lot more competitive, and people would tune into it the same way they tune into the NFL or NHL preseason or Major League Baseball spring training, because they want to see what guys get picked up and what guys are going to get cut. Another thing to think about is whenever a star player decides to take a game off for load management. That would then open up the opportunity to one of your 10 roster G League players to be called up and get some minutes. And whoever they call up, that guy's gonna be hungry. He's been waiting for this shot all season. So let's have a guy who actually wants to play, go out there and play. It would maybe also discourage some guys from taking days off for load management, because what if a guy comes up and really plays well? I mean, obviously for the stars it's unlikely, but it's still kind of a threat. And that situation, you could market it to the fans who have historically been turned off by players taking load management games. You could market it to them and say, hey, come see this guy who they're hungry. We're instituting this to try and help prevent guys from taking games off for load management. You know, however you want to market it, you could definitely spin it in a positive way for the NBA. Having that many guys to call up from the minors, it's the same as whenever a guy gets called up off of the practice squad. That guy's hungry. He's playing for his career. You are seeing a guy in real time play to prove that he belongs in the majors and that he wants to earn a contract with the major league team. And seeing a guy play with that kind of hunger and that kind of drive, it can produce some magical moments. This should not be that hard of a thing for the Players Association to get accepted into a new CBA deal. It would only cost around $5 million to pay 10 players who are on two-way contracts, so I really doubt that the owners are going to get mad over an extra $5 to $6 million in player salaries. Even if the league does expand in the future, we should still have larger rosters. This could open up the possibility of having longer and larger contracts for players. The catch with all of this, though, would be less money is guaranteed, and you run the risk of being designated for assignment to the minors, like when a player underperforms in Major League Baseball. So those are kind of the drawbacks to it, because you get more Major League Baseball, NFL, NHL style salaries and contracts, but all of those contracts and all of those leagues have way less money guaranteed compared to the NBA. But that could also be used as a negotiation tactic when offering somebody a contract. For example, you could say, hey, here's this short-term deal with less money overall, but more money guaranteed, or you could take this longer contract with more money, but less money is guaranteed, and we can designate you for assignment if you underperform. Spreading out talent in the league could be a problem, though. The NBA is losing most of its big-name stars to retirement, and ratings are going down. While the ratings problem is because more games are on streaming services, and less people can afford it, and more people are just watching illegally for free, this could still fix the problem a little bit of having too few stars. I mean, let's look at guys like Pascal Siakam, Nikola Jokic, Jalen Brunson, or going even further back into NBA history, Ben Wallace and Dennis Rodman. Those are all big-name NBA players who were picked late in the draft, and the only reason we know their names is because teams gave them a shot. Some of those guys spent really prolonged periods in the G League like Pascal Siakam. As much as I don't like Jalen Brunson, imagine if the Knicks didn't sign him and treat him like a star after his playoff series with Dallas. He still might be seen as nothing more than a good role player. All it takes is the right team giving the right guy a shot at the right time. Think about all the players who we have probably missed out on just because they didn't catch on at the right time with the right team. So the whole point of this, like I've said, is just opening up more roster spots so more guys can have the opportunity to play. There's no guarantees that any of these guys are going to do anything, but by no means does this solve the NBA's bigger problems as a league. If you want me to talk about how they can bring ratings back up, that's a topic for a whole different video. I'm willing to make it, but that's a topic for a whole different video. I just want to see players have their fair shot at playing in the NBA and making a career for themselves. There are plenty of stars who only made it to the NBA in the first place because they caught a few breaks at the right time. I'm just saying that we can make that happen for more players by giving them more opportunities. Standing up for this outro because it shouldn't take very long. I mean, everything that I have to say has already been said in this video. I actually do want to show y'all something real quick. Let me show y'all something.
Look at this flag. Is this flag not hard? You got the mix. You got the Detroit City flag. You got the City of Indianapolis flag right there, cut horizontally like that. You got Miguel Cabrera, Dylan Larkin, a Long's Donuts sign. If y'all don't know, that's a donut shop in Indy. Reggie Miller, T.Y. Hilton, the Shitty Boys, TRD, Stan Will, Babytron, and a Hellcat. Is this flag not hard? I just had to show y'all this because I think it's hard. I made this. I designed this myself. This is hard in my opinion. So y'all tell me if you think it is, but I think it is.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, I guess the title of this is kind of clickbaity because it's not like the G League itself needs to be fixed. It's more just how the NBA handles the G League is what needs to be fixed. But the NBA needs to fix a lot of things. As much as I love the NBA, like that was really the first sport that I fell in love with was basketball, you know, being from Indiana. That was the first sport that really clicked with me. And just the NBA that I watched growing up is so different than the one now in the style of play. And some of that is a good thing and some of that is a bad thing. But I just feel like we could discover a lot more talent, more talented players who could become all-stars in this league, or at least solid contributing role players in this league if we gave guys more opportunities. I mean, just look at the guys that we got out of the COVID years and those G League guys getting called up. It's just all about opportunities and reps against high competition. I mean, imagine if some of those G League players practice more with the NBA guys than they did the G League. You're facing a higher level of competition there. You're learning things from those guys. It could be very beneficial for them. So all I'm saying is maybe the NBA should just kind of treat G Leaguers in a different way and more similar to how other leagues treat their minor leagues. But anyways, I'm Windless Pools. I'll see y'all next time.
But you get the mix right, nigga, put it in the blender. Hell yeah, I'm Wingstop. Bitch, I'm selling chicken tenders. It's like I got the beef with energy and water like timber. Hey, turning, looking like dinner. It's like I got the bag, boy or girl.